I'd like to welcome everyone to the Planning Commission meeting. Most of you have been here before at some time or another, so you know the routine, but we'll first have public hearings will be one of the first items on the agenda. And when there's an item that you're concerned with, feel free to go to one of the microphones on either side of the room and give your name and address and tell us your concerns. That's what we're here for, is to listen to those, and we will certainly hear everything that everybody says. If there's more than one person here speaking to a specific instance, listen to what the other speakers say and try not to repeat it, because we do hear everything that's said and we make note of it. So, you know, we're not counting votes here. We're just seeking information from you. I'm Janet Watson. I'm chairman of the Planning Commission, and I'd like to introduce our other members to you, starting on the end.
Good evening. I'm Les Tillery.
Vince Dickens, Army Contracts.
Steve Strickland.
Jennifer Nelson.
Gary Whitley.
Kelly Scrimshire, Mayor Battle's office.
Peggy Richard.
Kimberly Battle.
Jim McGuffey, City Planning.
And we also have Claudia Anderson in the back. She's with the legal department, and she will help us when we need advice about the legal aspects of any issue that we're dealing with. And in addition, of course, we have the planning department members here who will do our information and presentations as we go along. Has everyone had a chance to read the minutes?
Second.
Any corrections or changes? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The minutes are approved. Public hearings beginning, and our first item is Cross Creek Phase 6 that has been withdrawn. If you're here tonight to address Cross Creek Phase 6, we would be glad to hear what you say. That may come up on a later agenda and you can come back, but if you're here tonight to address any issue with regard to Cross Creek, we would be glad to hear that now. Okay, I hear no comment on Cross Creek Phase 6, and so we will proceed to Item 2, Hampton Ridge Phase 6. Is there anyone here to address Hampton Ridge Phase 6? Yes.
Ma'am, my name's R.J. Salahub. I'm at 7037 Pale Dawn Place. That's Owens Crossroads.
Is your microphone on?
You hear me now? Or I'll just speak up and use my military voice.
Use your military voice.
Okay. Okay. From what I understand, the issue at hand is an additional lot along the eastern edge of the development. I've got no concerns as far as that goes. I guess one question I do have has to do with what avenues are available now that construction is underway with Phase 6 in terms of what the developer's plans may be and in the execution of that construction. Is that something that would be addressed here through the Planning Commission, or would that be directly with the developer or city engineers?
Is the engineer for that project here tonight?
I don't see him.
I don't see him here.
Okay. Michael, do you know what's going on with construction on that?
They started grading property, yes.
Okay.
They did not use the entrance off of Hampton Phase 5. They didn't come off of Old Bay Cove, which was a big good thing for them.
First, I've got some concerns on easement reference, some of the drainage plans, and I'm not sure that's necessarily a issue for this forum, but I'm curious as to what the avenue I've got available to get those issues addressed.
I think probably speaking with the engineering department at the city or with the project engineer to see if you can get the information you need but the plans have been, before they make it to this forum, they have been vetted by the city engineering department. So they have a grasp of what's going on with drainage and that sort of thing. If you would like to speak with them, you could give them a call tomorrow. We don't have that information here, though. So,
One of the primary concerns is with them in the midst of construction right now. We've lost quite a bit of our shade and foliage.
mm-hmm.
I would perhaps ask you to consider that in future developments, that be a consideration given as you add to existing developments. It's a bit of a disappointment, a bit deflating here the past couple weeks as trees have gone away, but I would again ask this body to consider that in future discussions of future developments.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Bill Walton. I also live at Hampton Ridge at 4415. My concern still mostly with the safety. Currently, there's only one entrance feeding this development, which is the Hampton Ridge Drive. I and several other parents see every day the amount of traffic that comes down this street. As recent as 2 weeks ago, we had an accident where one car was speeding and rear-ended another car. We've taken it upon ourselves to bring alert to cars coming down. We put out signs, we put out anything we can draw attention to slow the traffic down. My question is, do we know if there are any plans for a second entrance feeding this new addition to alleviate the amount of traffic that will be coming down? And if not, what steps can we do to remedy what's going on with the amount of traffic, the speed that's coming down through there for us parents that live on the main street?
I think there's a copy of the plans here tonight, isn't there, Michael? I think if you could look at those, that's one concern that we addressed previously on this subdivision, and they're using the construction entrance, I understand, for construction traffic.
Do you know if that will continue thereafter once they start developing the 36 lots? Will they continue?
I'm not sure how. Michael, will you show him the plans and then we'll hold this open so that you can look at those plans and if you have other concerns, you can come back to the podium.
Thank you.
Later. Is there anyone else here regarding Hampton Ridge Phase 6? We're going to hold this open for examination of those plans and addressing of further concerns, and proceed to item 3, McMULLEN Cove, Watson Grand Preserve Phase 2. And I'm recusing myself from that hearing and going to turn it over to Vice Chairman Gary Whitley.
Thank you. We will now have public hearing on McMULLEN Cove, Watson Grand Preserve Phase 2. Is there anyone to speak here on item number 3, McMULLEN Cove, Watson Grand Preserve Phase 2? Okay, seeing none, the public hearing is now closed, and I'll turn it back over to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Item 4 is Meadows at Hampton Cove Phase 2. Is there anyone here to address Meadows at Hampton Cove Phase 2? Hearing no comment, the public hearing is closed. Item 5, Overton subdivision has been withdrawn. Did anyone come tonight to address Overton subdivision? We would take comments now if you were here, even though that's been withdrawn. But hearing no comment, we'll proceed to the next item. PACKARD subdivision Phase 3, a re-subdivision of Lot A and B of PACKARD subdivision Phase 2, a re-subdivision of Lot 1 of PACKARD subdivision. Is there anyone here to address PACKARD subdivision Phase 3? Hearing no comment, the public hearing is closed. Item 7 is SLAYTON Place, re-subdivision of Lot 2 of WARE Park Phase 2. Is there anyone here to address SLAYTON Place? Hearing no comment, the public hearing is closed. Item 8 is Villas at Research Park Phase 2 Apartments. Is there anyone here to address Villas at Research Park Phase 2? Hearing no comment, public hearing is closed. Our next items are items 9A through E, and those are for location, character, and extent. Item A, Annandale Trail access has been withdrawn. If you came to address that item tonight, we will hear comments anyway. If there are any comments? Hearing no comments, we'll proceed to the next item. HCS, Huntsville City Schools marquee sign for Columbia High. Is there anyone here to address the marquee sign for Columbia High School? Hearing no comments, public hearing's closed. Item C, Huntsville City Schools marquee sign for Hampton Cove School and Academy for Science and Foreign Language. Is there anyone here to address that issue? The sign for Hampton Cove School and Academy for Science and Foreign Language. Hearing no comment, public hearing is closed. Item D, SONNIE Hereford Elementary School. Is there anyone here to speak regarding SONNIE Hereford Elementary School? Hearing no comment, the public hearing is closed. Item E is Student Services Building for UAH. Is there anyone here to speak regarding the Student Services Building for UAH? Hearing no comment, the public hearing is closed. Michael, did the gentleman get the information he was seeking? Okay, we'll continue to hold that open if you just let me know when they come back in and proceed to zoning. Ashley, our first item is Farley 2 rezoning.
The proposed rezoning is approximately 69.04 acres. It's located on the west side of US Highway 231 South and north of Green Cove Road. The proposed rezoning is highlighted in red. The current zoning for this area is light industry and also residence 1B. The property owner would like to petition the rezoning to rezone this property to residence 2B, which is consistent with the adjacent subdivision.
Is there anyone here to address the Farley 2 rezoning? Hearing no comment, the public hearing is closed. Item B is Mill Run rezoning.
This property is approximately 1.32 acres. It's located on the north side of Old Highway 431 and west of Mill Run Road. The current zoning is Residence 1A. The property owner would like to request that this property be rezoned to C1, which is consistent with the adjacent C1 zoning for future commercial development.
Is there anyone here to address Mill Run rezoning? Yes. Mr. Enfinger.
Controversial, but I did want to mention, my name is Jeff Enfinger, and my two uncles and I developed Hampton Cove, and the golf course built its golf course on some of our property long time ago, 20 years ago. and we had never have gotten that straightened out, but they took an acre of our property and we took an acre of their property in just a swap, and that's what this is doing, is taking some of their property and making it C1 just like the adjacent tract.
Thank you very much. Anyone else to address the Mill Run rezoning? Hearing no further comment, the public hearing is closed. Our next item is item C, NTI rezoning.
This property is approximately 10.23 acres. It's located on the south side of US Highway 72 East and on the east side of Moores Mill Road. The property is currently zoned Neighborhood Business C1 District. The property owner would like to request a rezoning of the property to Highway Business C4, which is consistent with the surrounding zoning on the south side of 72 East.
Is there anyone here to speak regarding the NTI rezoning? Hearing no comment, the public hearing is closed. Item D is the MURPHY-PEETE zoning.
This property is newly annexed land. It's located on the east and west sides of Mooresville Road and on the north side of Huntsville Browns Ferry Road. The property was newly annexed, so there is no zoning. We would like to rezone the property to C4, which is consistent with the adjacent zoning east and west of Mooresville Road.
Is there anyone here to speak regarding the MURPHY-PEETE zoning? Hearing no comment, the public hearing is closed. Item E is ALVAREZ zoning.
This property is approximately 0.61 acres. This is also newly annexed land, so it currently has no zoning. Staff would like to recommend that we zone the property R1, Residence 1 District, which is consistent with the existing single-family detached dwelling use.
Is there anyone here to speak regarding the ALVAREZ zoning? Hearing no comment, the public hearing is closed. Our next item is the Providence Plan Development Amendment. Major changes to the Providence Plan Development PDH LUI 56 adds permitted uses within the plan development. Lisa, you're going to give us the background on this?
Yeah.
Thank you.
This is the Providence Plan Development, and we'll go over the transects again really quick so that, because there's a couple of them you'll need to remember when we get into the amendments to the Providence Plan Development. The purple areas that you see here are Transect 1. That is open space to be left in its permanent open space to be left in its natural state. Transect 3 is the green up here. That is single-family detached homes. Transect 4 is the yellow areas. That is primarily residential with limited commercial. Transect 5 is the orange areas that you see here, and that's primarily commercial with residential uses. And Transect 6 that you see here and here, that is their urban town center. That's their highest density. It's commercial again with limited residential. The area to the west of the creek here is mostly undeveloped. You see here to the east of the creek has been developed. When we had the public hearing last month for the amended uses, amendment to the list of permitted uses, there were some concerns from the neighbors, and Planning Commission sent this back to Zoning Committee and so that the developer would have time to have a neighborhood meeting. The developer did have a neighborhood meeting, and they've come up with some changes that, based on the emails I've received, they've agreed upon. Now, the important areas that you need to remember is this Transect 4B right here. Again, this is already developed. This Transect 5 here, Transect 5C, which is here. and the 2 civic areas. The civic areas are in light blue. Those are public spaces. This is D and F, transects civic D and F. The areas that are shown in yellow are the areas that have been changed since the last meeting. You'll see that we still have this list of permitted uses that we went over last time within transects 4, 5, and 6, and we've added excluding transect 4B and transect 5C. That was the 2 areas you saw in Providence that have already been developed. And this particular use has been reworded as assisted living facilities, specialty care, assisted living facilities, and nursing homes as defined by the Alabama Department of Public Health. Within transects 5 and 6, excluding transect 5C again, are your list of uses including the mobile food vending units. The change here, previously it was 2 a.m., 6 a.m. to 2 a.m., Thursday through Sunday. It's now 6 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. Thursday through Saturday. And that same change was made to the street vendors as far as the timing. We have another change here within transects 5, 6, and civic, excluding transect 5C. Again, that's that small transect 5 that's already been developed. It would exclude these uses. And then within civic, and again, those are those small blue areas that you saw that are public spaces, including the school site. Within civic, excluding civic D and civic F, and civic D is an existing park, and civic F is their clubhouse, so it would exclude these, and then carnivals by special exception would be permitted within the remaining civic districts. And so those are the changes that you see, the highlighted changes of the results of the neighborhood meeting.
Okay. Is there anyone here to comment on the Providence Plan Development Amendment as presented? Yes. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Jackie Reed. I was here at the last meeting when you had this. All I care about and ask about, were these people notified? Some of these people were notified of this tonight, and has all this been worked out with the problems that they had from the last meeting? And I don't know if any of them's here or not, but were they notified again of this meeting tonight? You're happy? If you're happy, I'm happy.
Thank you, Ms. Reed. Is there anyone here else to comment on the Providence Plan Development Amendment? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Dr. Angela Somerset, and I just want to make sure that I understand in the part for T4B, which would actually be my street, T5C, would be mostly their area there, that even though it says it excludes that, there's a part right under there that talks about the assisted living facility. I want to make sure that it does exclude that portion from our areas. I just want to make sure, the way it's written, I want to make sure that that's clear.
That's correct.
Okay, that's my only question. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here to address Providence Plan Development Amendment? Yes, sir.
My name is Daryl Bird, and I live in Transect 4, so I live in Providence as well. And I'd actually like to speak in support of the project. I think that most of the kinks have been sort of worked out, and I'm a big advocate of aging in place. As an architect, we encourage clients to sort of age in place in their existing homes, but that's not always necessary. And the next best thing is to be able to age in place in your neighborhood. So this allows for some of that to happen, as well as other ways to revitalize the town center. So I'm in support of it, and I think many of the neighbors are as well.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else here to address Providence? Yes.
My name is William Houston. I live at 24 Cranston in Providence. We were not informed of the meeting that they had at the meeting house, and if I'm not mistaken, that my wife did speak to the Slimans, and the information that the gentleman has right here, we don't have it at all.
Okay. Do we have a copy of those of the zoning ordinance that we can give to Mr. Houston? Sir, if you,
For right now, with the amendments that they made, I disagree because I haven't had time to go through it.
we're sort of, I know this is the last item on the agenda, and I would like to hold this open just briefly while we address some of the other issues. So you will have a chance to go through those. I trust that there was a meeting and that we had notices were sent out in the Planning Commission meeting agenda last month, and this is an ongoing item from last month. So it's actually, this is the second month that we've considered it, and I would be glad to hold the meeting open for a little while you glance at that document, but then I will have to close it, and we will have to vote on it later. So I'm going to give you just a few minutes while I proceed through about 4 other items here, and then I will open the public meeting again for your convenience to make any comments that you wish to at that time. And while Mr. Houston is reading that, I would ask if there's anyone else from Providence who wishes to comment at this time. Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
Ms. Watson.
Yes, Mr. Simon.
Ms. Houston did come to the meeting. She was late, and I guess there was an email snafu from the association, but there was a full room of residents, in fact, 2 full rooms. So we did address, and just to Mr. Houston, his area is also excluded from the changes in the zoning, and that's what Mrs. Houston was asking about that evening, actually.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm Bob Whiteford. I live in the village of Providence at 4 Pawtucket. I did see the original proposal. I've also seen what your planning committee has come up with, the changes. I talked to people in my neighborhood, particularly my neighbors, and they feel that this new proposal with the hour changes and the locations and stuff is very satisfactory. So,
Thank you, sir. What was your name again?
Bob Whiteford.
Bob Whiteford. Okay, thank you. Okay, is there anyone else here to comment on Providence? We have Hampton Ridge. Yes, sir, did you get the information that you needed? Okay. Any further comment? Okay, thank you very much. Is there anyone else to comment on Hampton Ridge? Phase 6, hearing no further comment, the public hearing is closed on Hampton Ridge Phase 6. Leaving the public hearing open for Providence Plan Development Amendment. Oh, didn't we did that? All public hearings are closed except for the Providence Plan Development Amendment, and we're going to leave that open for through the next 4 items, and proceed with our subdivision report. Kimberly?
Yes, ma'am. The subdivision committee met on October 15th. The following are our recommendations. First item, Flint River Apartments. This was forwarded without a recommendation pending an easement vacation. Did that happen?
The easement has been vacated. It's in order for layout and preliminary.
Move to approve on layout and preliminary approval.
Is there any discussion? All in favor of layout approval and preliminary approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Second item is Hampton Ridge Phase 6. The committee recommends layout and preliminary approval on 36 lots with a waiver on the non-radial lot lines between lots 32 and 33, 33, 34, and 34 and 35. Move to approve.
Second.
Is there any discussion on Hampton Ridge Phase 6?
I have a question on this one. It's Phase 6, so I assume that the development has been growing, right? How many total lots will it be with the inclusion of this 36?
We only annexed in 26 acres, and this 26 acres is 35 lots.
That's all,
That's all we've seen so far.
okay, okay. So it's not growing yet. It's not like a build-on from,
Remaining portion is in the county. I annexed the city.
okay, and that's why okay, understood. I was wondering for entrance purposes.
That's still in the county.
Fair enough. All right,
Okay, are there any other questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Third item, McMullen Cove, Watson Grand Preserve, Phase 2.
Oh, just a moment, I'm getting ahead of myself. I need to recuse on this item and turn it over to Gary.
Proceed.
The committee recommends relayout and re-preliminary approval on 53 lots with a waiver on non-radial lot lines between lots 4 through 24, 27 through 48, and the angle of the side lot lines between lots 25, 26, and lots 26, 27. Move to approve.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed have the same right. Motion carries, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Item 4, the Meadows at Hampton Cove, Phase 2.
The committee recommends preliminary approval on 47 lots. Move to approve.
Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Fifth item, PACKARD subdivision Phase 3, re-subdivision of Lot A and B of PACKARD subdivision Phase 2, re-subdivision of Lot 1 of PACKARD subdivision. The committee recommends layout and preliminary approval on 3 lots. Move to approve.
Is there any discussion?
Second.
Oh, we didn't get a second?
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Sixth item, Slayton Place, re-subdivision of Lot 2 of Ware Park, Phase 2. The committee recommends layout approval on 53 lots and preliminary approval on 30 lots with a waiver on triple-fronted lots 1 and 30 and double-fronted lots 2 through 6, 28, and 29. Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Seventh item, villas at Research Park, Phase 2 apartments. The committee recommends relayout and re-preliminary approval on 79 units. Move to approve.
Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Before we proceed with layout, character, and extent, can we see if Mr. Houston is ready to come back in? Oh, is he in? Okay, I'm sorry. Yes.
Oh, he's got to talk to Mr. Slyman first.
Oh,
We can just go
okay.
through section
Okay,
3.
we'll go through location, character, and extent, and vacation of right-of-way. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
it's okay.
Would you proceed?
First item, 1A, Huntsville City Schools marquee sign for Columbia High School. The public hearing was held. Move to approve.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
The second, 1B, is Huntsville City Schools marquee sign for Hampton Cove School and Academy for Science and Foreign Language. The public hearing was held. Is there a motion?
Any discussion?
I just want to note that in our subdivision committee meeting, we did have some discussion on the fact that the Huntsville City School signs for ASFL is a little bit different than the ones that they're currently putting out for the rest of the school system. I know we had a lot of dialogue on it, and that was carefully explained, but I still think it's a unique situation and what's more hopeful that it would be similar to the rest of the schools. But that's just an opinion from the subdivision committee, or from that meeting.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Second item, SONNIE Hereford Elementary School. Public hearing was held. Move to approve.
Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Third item, Student Services Building for UH. Public hearing was held. Move to approve.
Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Next on the agenda is a request to vacate the right-of-way for J.C. McDonald Addition, formerly known as Stone Middle School. The staff recommends approval of said vacation. Move to approve.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I will recuse myself from this, please.
Okay. Thank you. Kelly? Okay, everyone has a copy of the easement now, and the motion is on the table. Are there any questions or discussions regarding this?
Can you show me what we vacated last time? Remember, we did something a while, not last time, but maybe like a year ago, and it was something on Stone property before the property was sold.
Yeah, there was an alleyway that was built between this parcel here.
Back here?
There was
Okay.
an alleyway between the parcel in the rear, and so it was vacated.
And so this is just to connect to that? Okay.
This.
The rear, there was an alleyway that was vacated previously, approximately 1 year ago.
And this is, we just failed to know that this one was here at the time, or?
That would be correct, that we failed at that point to notice that that had not been vacated. Considering the redevelopment of the site, we have noticed that this vacation needs to be withdrawn from vacated at this time.
Okay. Well, it looks like it goes right through the middle of the existing building. I'm surprised that it wasn't vacated before.
That would be correct, that the easement did go through directly through the middle of the building. It was a older road before the development of the school.
Okay. Any other questions, comments?
Are there any other vacation needs for this property?
At this time, no, there are no other additional vacation needs.
Okay. Any other questions? All in favor of vacating the right-of-way at the J.W. McDonald Addition, formerly known as Stone Middle School, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay, we are back to Providence, and we need to proceed with this part of the public hearing. Is Mr. Houston back in the room? Yes, did you get your questions answered?
I did, and it appears to be that, Mr. Slyman, they have put the reason why we didn't show up to the meeting was because something was wrong with our end of on our computer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for right now, we're just gonna have to live with what's here.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anyone else to comment on Providence Plan Development Amendment? Hearing no further comment, yeah, we're still in public hearing.
Chairman,
Yes.
I'll recuse myself from this vote.
Okay, we're not going to vote yet, but,
Okay.
so remind me when we get up to that point. Public hearing on Providence Plan Development Amendment is closed. Okay, and I think we're ready for zoning. Vince, do you have, Les, you have zoning?
Vince has asked me to read the report.
Okay.
The zoning committee met on October the 8th, 2014, and these are our recommendations. Item 1, Farley 2 rezoning. Public hearing was held this evening. Is there a motion?
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 2 is Mill Run rezoning. The public hearing was held this evening. Is there a motion?
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 3 is NTI rezoning. The public hearing was held this evening. Is there a motion?
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 4 is Murphy-PEETE zoning. The public hearing was held this evening. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
I have two questions. The zoning was recommended based on the adjacent land on the other side, but I noticed that there was a subdivision close by. Is that city or is that county?
The subdivision that is north of the property is in the county. That is not a city subdivision.
So it wouldn't.
No. Also, the property owner requested a commercial zoning for future commercial development, and it's also consistent with the surrounding zoning that's within the city limits.
Understood. I noticed the two end streets that look like they would go into that new property from the subdivision. It looked like there were stub streets. And I didn't know. If it's not city, there's nothing we can do about that, but
To my understanding, there was never any
plan.
future phase. Oops. There was no future phase for that particular subdivision. Well, guess not.
It's okay. It's okay. I think I'm good knowing that that's not a city subdivision.
Any further discussion on Murphy-PEETE subdivision, Murphy-PEETE zoning? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 5 is Alvarez zoning. The public hearing was held this evening. Is there a motion?
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 6 is Providence Plan Development Amendment, major change to the Providence Plan Development PDH LUI 56 as permitted uses within the plan development. The public hearing was held this evening. Is there a motion?
Is there any discussion? Yes, Jennifer.
Yes. So firstly, I'm very happy to know that the neighbors and developer were able to come together and talk about this, because we've seen a lot of improvements to the ordinance even since the zoning subcommittee meeting. One thing I would like to ask on number 5, item number 5 under mobile food vending units, where it says where they are and are not permitted to be. It specifically says that mobile food vending units are not permitted within public rights of way. And secondly, street vendors, item 2 under street vendors, they are also not permitted on public rights of way, and both have to abide by setback rules for the transects that they are in. My understanding of adding these two uses in is to increase the level, street level vibrancy around the clock, more options for dining and whatnot for people that choose to visit Providence or live there. However, my concern is that as the Providence neighborhood is developed further, there will not be a place for food vendors, whether they have trucks or carts, to set up outside of the parking lots. And I was wondering if you could tell me, Lisa, or anyone else, if that would be a possibility, because it seems that it will be phased out by time.
Yeah, they can set up in private parking lots, if that was your question.
But all of the current private parking lots right now, they either have low visibility because they're behind buildings, or they will be developed into future buildings, correct?
I couldn't talk
According
to their
according
future
to the
development
phasing
plans.
plan of the Providence development.
But, well, we keep them off of private rights of ways. Other than that, they can go on private property, whether it's a vacant lot or a vacant parking lot, private parking lot.
I guess what I'm saying, as brought up in the zoning subcommittee meeting, was I'm not sure why they're not allowed to be on public rights of way, even in on-street parking, because typically we see that when there are these kind of ordinances, they just make sure that they don't impede traffic flow. But they are specifically in the rights of way because, as written, street vendors can't even set up on the sidewalks.
That's right. We don't permit that anywhere in town, except for downtown, and they have to get a special licensing agreement.
And I'm not sure if that's what the neighborhood intended with the writing of this particular ordinance, but I did want to raise that concern.
The neighborhood in particular, during the last public hearing, said they did not want them on the public rights of way.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Slyman?
Yeah, I just wanted to answer the question about other private area. We have a big park in the middle of the town center, and that will remain a park, and that's private property owned by us, and that's where we would have activities such as this.
So you specifically want all the food trucks to drive up on the grass and be there if
Yeah, we've
they
set it
need
up
to.
that way.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Summer, actually, there's a question.
Yes, ma'am. Now, public hearing is closed. Yeah, we're just discussion up here because I've closed the public hearing, and I called on Mr. Slyman because he was adding information that the panel was asking. So I'm sorry, but, okay, thank you.
Are you finished? I have a question. So now, based on what he just said, so the food trucks will be permitted to drive onto the grass of the park?
David, would you come back down to the microphone, please? and
Lisa, would you
answer
mind
that?
pulling that map back up, please?
This is not in the residential zone. This is in the town center. There's commercial buildings that surround it.
I'm thinking of the park that's in the middle of the neighborhood.
No, sir.
That's the wrong one.
That is the wrong one.
So they won't be able to drive onto that grass.
No, sir.
Okay.
This is an open area in the town center, T6, and it's the white area.
Right where you have the, so only there will they be able to drive onto the
And
grass?
any private property that we own in that T6 zone there.
Only in T6, but not where the orange is up there, Lisa.
Not in the resident. That's all excluded from the ordinance.
But now, in the middle, that's white, right?
No, this is
That's
blue.
blue.
Okay, I can't see from
That's
here.
civic.
Okay.
That was also specifically excluded.
So they can't
Some
drive
of the
onto
uses
that?
that are
Correct.
permitted.
Good. Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
it's nothing in the neighborhood area. It's T5, T6 in that town center area.
Thanks. David, would you just stay down for a minute until we finish this? Thanks. Any further questions?
I have two questions, but I don't know if they're for the developer or if it's for the city. I did get some comments from residents, and I did provide them for record as correspondence received. One of the questions I had is when we don't allow certain uses, how do we determine how those are limited? I know that the residents specifically asked to limit the use. I think psychiatric institutions was mentioned, and they were told that we could not include that as a non-allowable use. How do we typically not allow certain uses on property?
Well, in a planned development, you have uses that are permitted.
Right.
That's a modification. They submit a list of uses that will be permitted within the development. We don't exclude uses as such, but we do list the uses that would be permitted.
But previously, like take the Jones Valley development or the Linden development, there were certain uses that were offered up by the developer to be
Those were plat
excluded.
restrictions.
Okay, got it. Thank you. I wasn't clear on that. And then this is another city question. One of the things that came up that I think is being resolved through the changes in the ordinance is how we allow vendors or food trucks on certain sides of streets. I guess right now they can be a certain distance or easement from different locations, but I didn't know if there were certain city-sized or neighborhood streets or, like, let me clarify. Not right now when you come downtown and there's a a food truck gathering. Typically, it's on a larger street. But it seems like our ordinance is written in some cases where it could be on a neighborhood street if it couldn't be on the street.
Yeah, we don't
Okay.
allow them on private streets, private rights of way, except for downtown, and unless there's a special event that they get a permit for.
Okay. The person asked a question about whether or not it was restricted based on street size, and we don't have that restriction. Okay.
The only restriction that I was able to read during that is that they're not allowed on any right-of-way. And so as written, this ordinance basically only allows vendors, whether they're in a truck or have a cart, on the current town green.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes.
I will not be voting.
Okay. Mr. Strickland recuses. Any other questions or comments? All in favor of the, I think we have a motion. We have a motion and a second, right? All in favor of the Providence Plan Development Amendment, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 7 is a zoning ordinance amendment, on-site video display units. This amends zoning ordinance Article 72, sign control regulations, Section 72.1, definitions, and amends Article 72, sign control regulations, to add regulations concerning on-site video display units. The committee recommends that the Planning Commission set a public hearing for November 25th.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Our next item on the agenda is invocation and extension of bonds. Jim McGuffey.
Just items 1 through 4.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 6, election of officers and committee appointments. We have 4 officers: chairman, vice chairman, secretary, and treasurer. And the floor is open for nominations for chairman.
Yes, I would like to nominate Janet Watson for chairman. Second.
Thank you. Any further nominations? Do we hear a motion that the nominations be closed?
Yes.
Would you say?
I'd like to make a motion and close nominations.
All in favor of closing nominations, please say aye.
Aye.
All in favor of Janet Watson as chairman, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is vice chairman.
I'd like to nominate Gary Whitley, please, as vice chair.
I'm a little uneasy about I'm going to ask for, are there any further nominations? Do I hear a motion that nominations be closed? Okay, all in favor of closing nominations for vice chair, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, all in favor of Gary Whitley for vice chairman, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The nominations are open for secretary.
Peggy Richard, I'd like to nominate Peggy.
Second.
Are there any further nominations? Do I hear a motion to close nominations?
Motion to close nominations.
Second.
All in favor of closing nominations, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All in favor of Peggy Richards as secretary, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item is for treasurer. Do I hear a nomination for treasurer?
Madam Chair, I'd like to nominate Kelly Scrimshire to serve as treasurer.
Any further nominations? Do I hear a motion to close nominations?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All in favor of Kelly Scrimshire as treasurer, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We have a slate of officers, and Michelle and I were talking before the committee meeting, before the planning commission meeting, and after consulting with Kim, it seems that committee appointments are to be made by the chairman, and I will be giving a call or speaking with someone to serve the as zoning committee chairman and someone to serve as subdivision committee chairman. And by tomorrow, I will have made those telephone calls. So, is there any further business to come before the meeting?
Madam Chair, I'd like to take the brief moment to recognize Ms. Jordan has some students visiting here from Alabama A&M University that have attended Planning Commission Committee tonight. I hope they learned something and that we did a good job.
Thank you very much. Would you stand up, the students? And we do thank you for attending, and wish you the very best in your studies.
Thank you. My name is Jimmy McNeil III.
And my name is Tiffany Lavender.
Thank you very much.
Be sure to talk to Jackie Reed, she knows more than all of us.
About all committees of government. Any further business? The meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for coming.